The smartwatch game has really heated up coming into the end of the year, but now we have our hands on the brand new Samsung iteration of their Tizen powered smartwatch. Hey, it's Josh Vergara from Android Authority. What's going on, everybody? And here is my unboxing and first impressions on the Samsung Gear S2. And so here we are finally with the Samsung Gear S2. We got a look at this at IFA, and Lon did a great job of showing just how unique this particular wearable is, especially when you compare it to the Android Wear iterations out there. But Samsung is powering this using Tizen, their OS that is exclusively currently for wearable devices. Here we are with the actual unboxing. All right. And there it is. I have, of course, the dark gray, as it is called, version, but, you know, just pretty much is black and pretty much gray all around, really just dark colors. There is a white version that is also available as well. This is going to be a little bit more of a sporty smartwatch, as you can see already, because of the silicone band. And unlike the S2 Classic, you're not going to have the, let's say, little rivets that are on the rotating bezel right there. So everything's going to be looking pretty smooth on here. So I'm going to put that aside for now and get underneath in order to look at what we get with the box. Here is the charging dock right here. Now we have Samsung on the back right here, but the watch should be able to just rest pretty easily like so. And then the documentation and, of course, the plug adapter for the actual device and the charging port itself. And actually tucked away into the side of the box finally is a set of replacement straps. They have S on there for small, and the one that's on the watch right now is considered large. So for those of you who have smaller wrists, they do have a strap there for you. Removing the actual strap from the watch is a little bit difficult at first until you realize that you have to sort of slide it out of the housing. And then after that, you could just snap the other one on. Now, taking a look around the device, we already have the nice bezel right here, which is going to prove to be a dial inside of the operating system here. So it's one way of going through all of the elements rather than just having to swipe around. The silicone band will give it a little bit more resistance to splashes, especially when compared to any leather straps. But otherwise, you have a stainless steel body on here, which keeps things very nice. So we're going to go ahead and get the plastic off of this bad boy right here. Now, one of the best parts about this watch is that it comes with an AMOLED screen. Now, that shouldn't come as much of a surprise given that this is a Samsung device, but what that means is that the display will only turn on the pixels that it needs in order to display what is displayed. And that should help with battery life, which is something that we always have a caveat with when it comes to wearables. So now with all of that done, we can finally don the actual watch on the wrist and go through some of the functions. So here we are with the Tizen OS. I'm going to go ahead and just go in and out of a couple of areas right now. My T-Mobile bill is available already. So that is a notification. So if you go over to the left, or if we wanted to swipe over, we could always do that as well. So swiping among all the different areas, we're going to have a lot of options and applications. So I'm going to use the bezel right here because it feels really nice, and it's a new way of input for smartwatches that we think is the most exciting part of the Gear S2. Head over to the right and we have a bunch of apps. You can have a quick dial function right over here if we want to pick which buddy we want to have. And there's a bunch of them that I can put right here. And then you can always add a new widget here. So here are a few of the widgets that you would be able to add. You can add water and coffee consumption, an actual schedule widget, and there should be more inside of the Gear Manager, which we will use for our full review and get a lot of new applications on here, aside from the ones that are just already here. And someone actually is already asking me if I have tested the S2, which, of course, today you are seeing the unboxing and first impressions of. Honestly, the thing that we like the most about the Gear S2 thus far is this new version of input. Now, we already took a look inside of the Gear Manager, and there are quite a few applications there already. A few of them we would actually use, like Yelp and stuff like that, but we have yet to see if the ecosystem is as mature as it needs to be in order for Tizen to really stand up to Android Wear. Now, it is important to note that the Gear S2 is compatible with a lot of different Android devices. You don't need to have a Samsung device anymore exclusively in order to use the Gear S2. However, when you're going through this setup, in this case I'm using my Moto X, the brand new one, you do have to install a number of extra applications in order to get it to work. Now, before we finish up, I do want to put out there real quick that I have a number of reviews that are coming out next week on smartwatches. I have the Moto 360 2nd Gen and the Huawei Watch, both of which will get the full review treatment, and you can see those here on Android Authority. But with the Gear S2, we're also going to go through a couple of comparisons, not only between the Moto 360 and the Huawei Watch, but between Tizen on the Gear S2 and Android Wear, using those two as examples. So you can keep it tuned to Android Authority for all of that and even more. Don't forget to check out all of the content from my colleagues in Android here, and then you can download the Android Authority app up there in the corner to access not only our wonderful website and all of the content from there, but also to listen to the Android Authority podcast discussing topics in Android every single week. Keep it tuned here and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more coverage of this bad boy right here, because we are your source for all things Android.